Hello and welcome to my video. Before I start my video, I would like to thank everyone that has supported the channel in its first couple of days. It means a lot to me. If you could carry on being this positive, it would mean the world to me. Now on to today's video. So today's main focus of my video today is about anxiety. So if you know what anxiety is, it's a mental health condition where you're worrying constantly. It can be about silly things like, is my cat going to get lost today? Or it could be about more serious things, but I'm not too sure what it could be. It could be anything. So my experience with anxiety, I've got pretty bad anxiety. I've been to therapy 9 times for it. I'll get more into the therapy later on in the video. So there's different forms of anxiety. So you can have social anxiety and sort of normal anxiety, if you will. But the problem is some people mistake anxiety for things like being wimpy or being antisocial. So someone would have social anxiety. Might start there. It can be mistaken for being an introvert or something like that, or being quite sort of locked away. But that can be social anxiety. And then there's normal anxiety, which can sometimes be mistaken for if you're like wimpy or something, like if your mate's doing something and then they think, oh, you're wimpy, you're being a bit wimpy about it. It can be like anxiety that something's going to go wrong about it. So my experience of anxiety is based around timing. So for example, I have a routine every morning. So I'll get up at the same time, eat breakfast at the same time, like get dressed at the same time. I'll do everything in the same time, like every week. So one of my most recent examples of my anxiety, where it shows up quite a bit, was I was late for school. So I leave the house at 7:40 for school, and at this time it was like 7:47. So most people would think, oh, I'm maybe late for school. You know, hopefully I won't be late for school. But the anxiety, it makes you think, okay, you are going to be late for school. All hell's going to break loose. You're going to get a correction, and you know everything's going to go wrong basically. That's my sort of form of anxiety. It has quite an impact on my social part of my life. I'm not saying it's social anxiety. Like the anxiety can lead on to having like social problems, and sometimes can lead on to depression in more like serious cases, but that tends to be more in adults. So if I'm like at a party or something and the party's going on a bit late, and it's like, okay, this is like past the time that I'm getting ready to go to bed, and it's like, okay, you know, I sort of should be in bed now. You can make fun of it all you want, but it's serious. Like, so let's say you're at a party or something, and the time is like I don't know, 9:30, and I don't know, you're supposed to be in bed by 10 o'clock, and like there's no sign of leaving. So like your mum and dad are still dancing around or chatting or whatever. There's no sign of it like stopping. So then I'll start thinking, okay, right, I'm not going to go to bed on time, and then I'm not going to get sufficient enough hours of sleep. So I like to have at least 10 to 9 hours sleep, which then leads on to insomnia. For me, that's happening more and more now. So I'm thinking I'm not going to get a good night's sleep because I'm, you know, out of routine. And then while I'm in bed thinking about that leads on to insomnia, which isn't fun. So yeah, it's not fun living with anxiety. But sort of how to deal with it. You can always go to therapy. For me, therapy hasn't worked. I'm not saying it won't work for you if you do have anxiety or a mild case of depression or whatever. I'm not saying therapy doesn't work. In my case, it didn't quite work. The first time round, it was good, and then it always comes back. It's like a cold or something. You'll get rid of the cold, and it will always come back, most of the time. So the first time, my therapist was really good. He was a great guy, and it really helped. Second time round, my first time was to do with like staying away from like my home. I still have a bit of that now, but it's not the main source of my anxiety. So like, if I was going on a holiday with like my dad, and it's just me and my dad, I'm not with my mum, I'll start panicking a bit. Like people always say, what are you panicking about? but you can't always tell what you're panicking about. You're just panicking because you're not there. Even though nothing's going to happen, you still know, you're still panicking about panicking. If that makes sense. So that was the first time I went, that's the first reason I went to therapy. And it worked like a charm. I could be away from the house for like 2 days or whatever. Recently I was away for 6 days and it didn't go very well. That's because the anxiety, the attachment anxiety came back to bite me. But I sort of dealt with that on my own because I've already known some of the therapy sort of ideas. So I sort of dealt with that myself. The second time round, it was to do with school. So I didn't want to go to school, and this must have been, Jesus, it must have been like year 4 and, it must have been year 3, year 4, around then, and I didn't want to go to school. Like, I wouldn't get dressed, I would just stay in my bed, and I wouldn't want to leave the house because I was always worried that I was going to do bad at school, or someone would, like, bully me or something because of the hair, which will be in a later video. And then the ninth to 6th to 9th time round, that was to do with more serious stuff that I'm not quite comfortable with discussing as of yet. I haven't told many people about it. If you do know what it is or have an idea, please leave your condolences to yourself. But it was quite serious. And I had longer sessions. I had like 2-hour sessions. So in that one time I was in therapy for 6 hours in total. But I'm not going to tell about that in camera. If you would like to know, I'm not going to tell you ever. So there's ways of dealing with it. So there's like little exercises that you can do. So you can do the ABC game, which is where you think of a subject, like an animal or something. So you'll think of animals. Like an animal beginning with A, you'd have like an anteater. B, you'd have like a bear. And you carry on until you get to Z, and it takes your mind off the thing that you're concerned about. Another thing is breathing. So sometimes when you have anxiety, your breathing will go out of zone. So if there's a square, so there you go, there's a little, something like that. So you'll breathe in, and then down there you sort of breathe out. I just on your breathing. Yeah. Okay, unfortunately that's all I have time for in today's video. If you'd like me to discuss anxiety deeper, let me know in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you could smash the subscribe and like, if we can get to 1 like, I'll be very happy. Okay, peace out. Bye bye.